All right, everyone. So it's Friday night. I'm getting ready to go out. This is the look. I'm feeling cut. But before I go out, I've got a pregame. And the only way I pregame is with an ice cold Bud Light. So good.
All right. Hello and welcome. It's Doug Diamond. Hope you enjoyed that. I found that on Twitter a little while ago and was just dying laughing. That was hilarious. One of the best deep fakes I think I've seen. So kudos to whoever did that. That was freaking awesome. So, all right. Welcome to another Diamond Report Live. It is Doug Diamond here, 10:06 p.m. on Sunday night, July the 16th, 2023. And yeah, let's look at the news. We've got some things to talk about. I hope you guys appreciate that first video I showed you, because that is a absolute no-no on this particular platform, if you're watching on YouTube at least. However, like I said, I've kind of figured out a couple of loopholes here, at least until they plug the loopholes, in which case you will see me disappear really quickly. But so far, so good. So anyways, yeah, as long as we're live, I think we're safe. As soon as we're done, though, boom, that video is getting pulled immediately, if not sooner. So I've had my struggles with YouTube the last few days. Seems like lots going on. They keep picking off subscribers, but people ask me why I care. Well, I care because that's where the people are. That's where the people are still going to watch videos. So that's why I care. And yeah, there are people on Rumble, people watching. It's great people and have really good interaction on Rumble, BitChute, Brighteon, all the other platforms. But man, they're just not there in the numbers that they are on YouTube. So that's why I am continuing to plug away on YouTube and trying to keep the channel alive and going as long as I can. So I hope you guys appreciate that. And let's look at the news. We've got some stuff to cover. Just as I was kind of running the music here before the show started, which the music gets cut out on the final version of this, but there was a story that was breaking on the Crimean bridge was apparently attacked. So let me see what I can find on that while we're live tonight. Before we do that, though, let me just refresh Hal's website. He may have something on here already. I don't see it yet. It was just literally minutes ago. So it was attacked again. So I'll look at that when I play another video, or I guess we could just do it live. I'm not logged into my Twitter account, so it'd be kind of tough. I am on Twitter now, by the way. Diamond Report is on Twitter, and we'll look at that in a little bit. And I'll give you the links to all of my different social media platform accounts that I am on, and there's a bunch of them. So I've not really had them all in one place where I could show you guys before, but I do have that now. So let's look at the news, though. We've got HalTurnerRadioShow.com. This first picture here of John Kerry. He's just talking about how this is utterly brazen. Democrats lie to your face, even under oath. We all know politicians lie. We also know how we know when they are lying, their lips are moving. But this video really takes the cake. Former U.S. Democrat Senator, former Secretary of State, now climate czar, John Kerry, who has quite a entourage of people who run around with him, appears to lie under oath and gets caught. Yep, but it doesn't matter because he's a Democrat. He can do it. And he's lying about having an airplane, his own, I think, fleet of airplanes. And he's married to his wife is part of the Heinz family, as in ketchup. And they have a fleet of planes. And he swears, even under oath, that he does not fly on a private jet, because people are questioning whether or not he really is concerned about the climate when he's flying all over the world in his own private jet. And he says, I never do that. So yes, utterly brazen, lying in your face, even under oath. It doesn't matter because he's a Democrat. He can get away with it, and you are not supposed to question it, and shame on you if you do. You're bad. He wants to save the world. It doesn't matter how he does it. That's literally what they think. He thinks he's saving the world, and it doesn't matter how he does it. If that means getting rid of you, then that's okay. That's just totally fine. So anyways, yeah. And then there's the other articles here on Hal's website. Video proof Ukraine has begun using cluster bombs, which we talked about that last week. I think that was something that, many countries are using already, which it's not good, but at least they're not using nukes quite yet. So says, well, that didn't take long. Ukraine has made video documentation of its first use of cluster munitions against Russian army troops. Says the brief video below shows the use, and Ukraine apparently can't aim very well. I think this sort of reminds me of the old birdshot idea. You just kind of throw it in a general direction and it explodes in so many different little mini bombs. You don't have to be accurate. I think that's the whole point of it. Earthquake in Alaska today, magnitude 7.4 off the Alaskan coast. A tsunami warning was issued. I watched Dutch Sense did a video on it this morning really early. I did watch that earlier today, and I think if you live on the U.S. West Coast, the energy comes from that direction, west to east. So, feel free to check out Dutch's video on that. I will actually link to that in my Substack post tomorrow. I don't have that pulled up here, but I'm sure you guys probably already listened to him. But he details this particular quake and talks about the tsunami warning that was issued, which was really a whole lot of nothing. 7.4 is not really big enough, usually at least, to generate much of a tsunami. It just depends, I suppose. But generally you're looking at the 8s and 9s that are going to generate a massive wave, potentially. So anyway, there will be energy coming in from the west coast to the east, and Dutch says basically just be on watch, and you may have magnitude 5s and 6s on the west coast instead of the normal 3s and 4s. So just keep a sharp eye out on that. Breaking news, large radiation spikes in eastern Ukraine. Something seems to have happened in Ukraine. There's a very large and very unusual sudden radiation spike. And it says it's not near any nuclear power plants. So again, I invite you to go to Hal's website to read these articles if you're interested in them. I just going through the headlines with you on this live show tonight. Updated. This is U.S. Army units receiving warning orders for deployment to Ukraine. And then, so they're getting ready to send some U.S. actual military over there. It's just a question of how many. I think we're looking at quite a few thousands at this point. Ukraine has launched an attack against Russia's Kursk nuclear power plant. Ukraine government has launched a drone attack against Russia's Kursk nuclear power plant, shown above. Thankfully, Russian air defense caused the drone to go down just 4 kilometers from the plant, as shown in the video below. So the video is on this article if you want to watch it. But yeah, it says the plant was not damaged. So they're actually attacking or trying to attack Russian proper. Actually shooting missiles or shooting drones. It sounds like a missile if you go watch the video, but it says drone attack. So anyway, pretty wild. They are definitely pushing Russia as far as they possibly can. Here's an article talking about Netanyahu being taken to the emergency room. And I think I have another headline pulled up on that one. Apparently he's been released. Multiple explosions at Dow chemical plant in Louisiana. So another chemical plant, another massive U.S. industry getting exploded, getting blown up. Explosion at Russian uranium enrichment plant. So yet another plant. And it goes on and on. There's lots and lots here. Feel free to look at this if you want. Giant crash coming. Rich Dad, Poor Dad author says BRICS meeting will put a nail in the coffin of fiat. I tend to agree with that. We'll see what happens. Anyway, yeah, HalTurnerRadioshow.com. Tons of good articles and really good info, especially his radio show, which I try and listen to every night. You can subscribe to him for, I think he calls it a whopping $1 a week, something like that. But I like to do that because then you get access to the archives so you can listen to the radio show at your leisure versus having to listen when it's live. He does a Monday through Friday radio show. Anyways, and then one other article I have pulled up here that's actually from the 12th, so 4 days ago now. It's actually fallen off the homepage, but I have it pulled up here because I just wanted to mention this. I had posted this on my Facebook page the day it happened. U.S. coastal airspace locked down, showing from the green circle here from Boston down to, I guess, into Louisiana. So talking about a danger area that had been basically blocked off, says something is going on off. Now, this is from a few days ago. Remember, this is 4 days ago. Something was going on off the U.S. coastline, caused the government to issue a NOTAM, which is a notice to air missions, closing the airspace over waters along much of the East Coast from Boston to south of D.C. into the Carolinas, even off of Miami, citing a danger area. At this hour, it's not known what the danger may be. And then he goes into it, though. He's talking about they were looking for, or at least there was some alert that they should be looking for, whatever the case may be, one of these. A Poseidon torpedo. Now, whether or not that's been planted off the U.S. East Coast and or the West Coast is anybody's guess. I would tend to think that Putin is probably doing the most intelligent and smartest thing that he can do, and that is to protect his country. And I would think that there probably is at least one. This article is talking about Russia wanting 30 of them. One nuclear-armed Poseidon torpedo could decimate a coastal city. Russia wants 30 of them. This is on thebulletin.org is the website. Thank you to Mushi for sending me this article. I hadn't seen it, and she sent it to me. Imagine finding yourself on a serene seashore only to realize that a catastrophic tsunami is imminent. However, this is no ordinary tsunami. This one is radioactive. So I was talking about the 100 megaton nuclear torpedo that could be steered automatically or autonomously, I guess would be the word, and plant itself nearby a coastal area and then explode on command. And that 100 megaton nuclear bomb that gets exploded, the water is absorbed by it, but it then pushes it into a massive radiation wave that then floods over whatever the nearest cities and areas that's right there at the coast. So this is something that I've talked about for quite a few months at this point. Made a video about it, and I would invite you guys to check that out if you haven't already seen it. It's right here. It's called From Russia with Love. Will Putin be like Goldfinger? And in this particular video from March of 2022, so well over a year ago now, I mention the Poseidon and talk about some scripture that also would go along with that, in addition to Jonathan Kleck, who's somebody that I do like to listen to. I think he is he's spot on with the things that he talks about with relation to his connection to God. And he was led many years ago to see that the currency, the U.S. fiat currency, has what appears to be a nuclear wave, a missile and a nuclear wave going over what appears to be New York City. He says that it's New York City. So he's been saying for many years at this point that it's printed on the money that New York will get trashed by a missile like exactly what we're talking about here. So I don't know. I mean, it's very possible. And when you look at Revelation 18, which I have pulled up here, talking about Babylon is fallen. I made a video, one of my End Times Dates series videos is about Revelation 18 and how I think that it is inextricably connected to New York City. I don't think that I don't think the U.S. proper is Babylon. I think it's primarily focused on the East Coast, mostly New York City, and or you could also say Mordor in there as well, as in Washington. However, there's really no way to tell what would happen if a major torpedo like this exploded, a nuclear torpedo. What would happen? We won't read through this right now, but I mean, if you haven't read Revelation 18 lately, I would certainly recommend doing that. And then while you're reading it, think of New York City, because to me it meets all of the criteria. And I'm not the only person that said that. I mean, many people have been saying that Revelation 18 and New York City make an awful lot of sense. So all that to say, just 4 days ago, on July the 12th, at least Hal reported that they were searching for such a torpedo off the East Coast. There could be one off of the West Coast too. We just don't know. So I do think that time in these end times, that time is compressing, and that more and more things are going to have to fit into a smaller and smaller space before Jesus returns. Just my opinion. But I do think that that does seem to be something that may happen, as far as at least one U.S. city probably being completely annihilated. And what would that do to the rest of the country if New York was taken out? And think of the millions and millions of people that live there. Not only that, but the financial hub and however much, however many other things that the East Coast would be if something that massive were to happen. What would that do? That would most likely cripple the country in some way, in quite a few ways. So anyway, I would just invite you to take it to the Lord in prayer like I've tried to do, and feel free to look at these articles that I have pulled up here. I'll link to them in my Substack tomorrow, and including the video that I mentioned. This article does talk about all the different types of torpedoes and the specifics on the Belgorod, which is Russia's largest submarine, and quite a few specifics here on this article. I think it's pretty well done. And then again, read Revelation 18. Think about New York City, because I think we're there. I think we're very, very close. And Biden and company are pushing Putin as far as they can possibly push him, because they want Russia to hit the U.S. so that he can be blamed for it. But I think if he does do that, he's going to do it in a way that they don't expect. Just my opinion. All right, let's keep moving on with the other articles I've got pulled up here. Quite a few of them. And we've got quite a few videos tonight, too. So we'll see what all we can get to. I'll try to hold it to around 2.5 hours tonight. We'll see what we can squeeze in. I've got quite a few videos and pieces of videos that we're going to attempt to watch. So we will see what all we can manage to touch upon tonight. Zuckerberg's Twitter clone Threads sees a massive drop in engagement after launch surge. Once again, Meta's Zuck has misjudged both his product and the public. This follows the disaster of the metaverse, which remains largely empty after costing billions to develop. If it were not for Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, all formerly developed platforms, Zuckerberg would be an also-ran. One must wonder just how smart he really is. Yeah, I mean, what are the stories that he comes from a very wealthy family. I don't remember if it was the Rockefellers or what, but he was basically put into place. One does wonder how much he had to do, if anything, with actual Facebook. And of course, like Bill Gates and so many others, they just buy the competition and buy other systems and companies that really have the really good technology, and then they absorb it, and then they say they're the inventors of those things. I think Musk did the same thing. So anyway, yeah, Threads is not looking good, but that's fine with me. I don't care. I doubt that you guys do either. From contact tracing to carbon footprint tracking, WEF's carrot or stick approach to COVID and climate policy says if the object is to enforce a lower and lower carbon footprint on humans, then at some point, one could be standing naked, homeless, and penniless on a street corner, breathing out CO2 15 times per minute. What's next? Eliminate you to stop you from emitting. That is the only logical extreme for carbon footprint measuring. It is anti-human. With digital ID and CBDC, it would be easy to turn carbon footprint measurement into enforcement under a social credit system. The WEF's carrot or stick approach to climate policies is virtually the same as it was for COVID. So, videos embedded here, and talking about digital identity. This is something I've seen multiple times. You guys probably have as well. And how it's all connected together. Yes, it's the Mark of the Beast technology. And that is where we're headed very, very quickly. Question is, how much of that stuff will get implemented before Jesus returns? Well, we know from Scripture that obviously it does. So how far it goes is anyone's guess. But anyway, yeah, so that and the last couple articles were on technocracy.news. We don't see an actual Antichrist quite yet, even though I think we have more or less figured out who that is now as well. I mean, I don't know if many of you guys have been around for quite a few weeks at this point watching this particular show, which is it's a weekly Sunday night show. If you guys, I often get questions about, are we going to do a live show tonight? Yes, we will do a live show unless I say otherwise. So just know that we will be here Sunday nights, 10 p.m. Central. I will let you guys know far in advance if I'm not going to do a show, but just plan on being here if you want to be here at the live show. I certainly appreciate it. And yeah, going back quite a few weeks at this point, looking at Tim Cohen's research, talking about who the actual Antichrist is, I think that we are about to see the unveiling of who that person is. And there will be a few things that will need to happen first before that does happen. King Charles III is the guy. And Tim Cohen has really, in my opinion, proved it. And I know it seems crazy to think that it could possibly be that dork who just took the throne in the UK, but he's also now king of Scotland, and he's also now king of Israel. So imagine that. And he has the pedigree. He has the heraldic achievement seal that matches perfectly with Revelation 13. So anyways, I think that we're about to see an unveiling here eventually whenever someone makes an attempt on his life, and things are going to change. Things are going to change, and there will be a Mark of the Beast law, in my opinion. There will also be a National Sunday law, in my opinion, which will probably have something to do, at least from my studies, have something to do with the one world religion, which will be environmentalism. That's what the guy has always, at least in recent memory, been about. And that is environmentalism and the green agenda and the climate change and all that stuff. And they're already talking about wanting to do lockdowns, and we'll see how it all unfolds. But I think that is where it's headed. So we will see whether or not the Mark of the Beast is something that is put forth by Charles or what happens exactly. But I do think that there will be a law coming at some point. Anyway, so here's what I found on the Crimean Bridge. There was an explosion just earlier as we were getting ready to go live tonight. Crimean Bridge, why it's important and what happened to it. This is dated just a little while ago. It says traffic on the road and rail bridge linking Russia and Crimean Peninsula was stopped early on Monday due to a, quote, emergency situation. The Russian-backed head of Crimea's administration said. The RBC Ukraine news agency reported that explosions were heard on the bridge, with Russian military bloggers reporting 2 strikes. The bridge is a crucial supply route for Russian forces in Ukraine, which makes it a pretty big target. It says Reuters was not able to independently verify the reports. No immediate comment from Ukraine. So that's what Reuters is saying. So, it's still a pretty new situation. Apparently, there's not a lot of people talking about this, but it was trending on Twitter last I checked. So, and I'm not logged into my Twitter account to show you that. So, anyways, yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. I'm sure Hal and some of the other people will have something on that. So let's just keep moving then. Doesn't seem to be too much info. And then this is the other article I have pulled up on this website. Disney produced cartoons featuring Illuminati-style elites drinking blood and sacrificing people. And it's family friendly. New Disney produced cartoon series based around a cult of robed elites drinking blood, carrying out rituals, including human sacrifice and worshiping an all-seeing eye symbol, while some have suggested it is more of the same weird indoctrination programming we've come to expect from Disney. The series aimed at adults is produced by Mike Judge, the creator of Idiocracy, The King of the Hill, and Beavis and Butthead, who is known for his anti-establishment, contrarian outlook and world that we live in culture. So I think it's kind of interesting. I mean, Mike Judge has been he's been on InfoWars quite a bit, and he and Alex are friends. And it's interesting that he's out there putting this out. So it makes you wonder why he is doing that. I mean, whose side is he on anyway? Right? New Disney-produced cartoon series based around a cult of robed elites drinking blood, carrying out rituals, including human sacrifice and worshiping an all-seeing eye symbol. That doesn't sound like a joke to me. But anyway, it's called Praise Petey, and it's a Mike Judge production. So I do find that a little bit interesting, and he's very aware of both sides of this situation. I would say God's side and Satan's side. So it's interesting to see what's going on exactly there with Judge. So I think we'll have to wait and see, but I don't think it's good that this show's even coming out. The fact that he agreed to do it is not a good thing in my opinion. But yeah, creator of Idiocracy, which is something we have referred to on this show pretty often because we are living in Idiocracy too. Liberty Beacon, BlackRock CEO, crypto will transcend international currencies. So this is talking about Larry the Fink. And in my opinion, the connection with the mark of the beast, right? This is from Zero Hedge, having told Fox Business last week that the role of cryptocurrency was largely digitizing gold, suggesting U.S. regulators consider how an ETF directly linked to Bitcoin could democratize finance and has the potential to revolutionize the financial system. BlackRock CEO Larry the Fink was once again doing the media rounds this week, expounding on his new flip-flopped role as crypto cheerleader. So, yeah, but it's not going to be Bitcoin. It's going to be a new and different system. Whether or not that is some version of the Fed having control of that, who knows? But, Anthony's been talking about Libra, which became Diem, and it still exists as Diem at this point. I think that whatever it is, it has to be transactional based so that it can be used at the local store and will be tied directly into your body if you take it, and it will be tied directly into your bank account, your monetary system, and the social credit system. It's easy to see how all of it can be tied together at this point. They're just trying to give the excuse they need to do it. So this is Larry the Fink out there pleading the case that this needs to happen. He's looks like he's making some sort of I don't know, you could say uneducated guess that it's going to be Bitcoin, but of course it won't be. It'll be something totally different and far worse. Reduce population. Kamala Harris let it slip. I don't know if you guys knew about this. Nobody ever pays any attention to what this woman says until she says reduce population, and now she has everyone's attention. Says verbal slip-up, ? Of course not. I mean, she undoubtedly would know what it is. But here's what she said. She said, when we invest, this is a quote, when we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water, end quote. That was her actual quote. And whose kids is she talking about there? I don't think she's talking about your kids or my kids. She says our kids, meaning hers and the elites, I guess, right? They get to have families. They get to breathe clean air and have clean water because they'll still be around. The rest of us are to be depopulated. And she thinks she is going to be on the side that doesn't get depopulated. This is Kamala Harris we're talking about here. Yeah, whatever. So anyway, yeah, she let it slip. She's talking about reducing population. So whether or not that will wake up people who are kind of on the fence, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, they're just out there admitting it. Now, I came across this. There's a lot of really good headlines and little blurbs of news on this page, so we might go through a few of these. Let me see what time. Yeah, I think we have time. Archaeologists use clues from the Bible to discover famous city destroyed by fire from heaven. You know what that is, don't you? Interesting timing. Last month, Biden declared the U.S. a nation of pride, flying the Sodom flag at the White House. Remarks by Biden and First Lady at Pride celebration. Today, June 10th, we declare that the U.S. is Sodom. So that's basically what they're saying. Here's the tweet that he supposedly tweeted, which he probably doesn't even know the password to his own POTUS Twitter account. But anyway, yeah, America is a nation of pride. And we know what happens. Pride comes before the fall. It says, this link here, it's pretty interesting, talking about Sodom and Gomorrah. So we'll get there in just a sec. Let's look at a few of these other little news blurbs on this page. This is dailycrow.com, which is a really good website. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at it. So it says, one of the other ones that I was looking at here, it says Musk set up a new AI company called XAI, technically a separate company from his X Corp, but will work closely with its other companies to make progress towards our mission to understand the true nature of the universe. And then Kamala Harris explained AI. AI is kind of a fancy thing. First of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence. Wow. Anyways, yeah. She's going to be one of the ones that doesn't get depopulated. Complete failure. Secret Service suddenly closes the White House cocaine investigation, which we talked about that last week, without naming a suspect. Not once, but thrice. Drugs discovered 3 times at Biden's White House since 2022. Says Democrats in Massachusetts look to give voting rights to foreign nationals. Number 2, D.C. non-citizens can now work as police officers. Number 3, Republicans unimaginable for Biden to open Obamacare to illegal aliens with 25 million uninsured Americans. So this is 3 separate things here, not related to the cocaine deal, but man, it just keeps, it's the gift that keeps on giving for sure. WEF launches Mark of the Beast CBDC microchip to end gun ownership in America. Here's an article about, well, it's actually a video link for Bohemian Grove, 100% real. Here's what we know for sure. Federal government has nearly tripled the deficit in the first 9 months of the fiscal year. NPR, quote, raising concern, end quote, should read total implosion, game over, to make sure that you have storable food. Talk of reduced taxed returns and zero mention of border invasion, Ukraine money laundering operation. Well, why would they? Anyway, yeah, lots of good info on that site. And this is one of the articles that was linked from that last site that we were just on Sputnik. CIA veteran says Biden could risk World War III to bail out Ukraine. You think? NATO is incapable of filling Ukraine's shortage in ammo and manpower without dragging itself deeper into the conflict and risking a direct confrontation with Russia. Larry Johnson, a veteran of the CIA and State Department's Office of Counterterrorism, told Sputnik News. So, yeah, kind of stating the obvious, I suppose. But anyway, National Pulse, this is apparently Tucker Carlson has done some interviews here lately with some of the potential presidential candidates. Pence was one of the people that was on stage here with him. It says, asked about a declining America, replies, that's not my concern. That's what Pence said. And I heard him say it. I don't know if you guys heard the clip at all, but former VP Mike Pence was quizzed by Tucker Carlson on Friday as to whether or not he was concerned about the decline across American cities, including skyrocketing suicide rates and major economic decline. In response, he began, that's not my concern. Therefore going on to state that he was running for president of the United States because he believes in addressing both domestic issues, but also in continuing a costly proxy war against Russia via Ukraine. But it's not his concern. So that may very well doom Pence's run, which that's fine with me. I could care less. The guy's a big-time rhino. DOJ erases child sex trafficking information from their website. So this is in response to the film that just came out that everyone is talking about, and we've got a couple of videos on that actually, which we may or may not watch. I'm not sure if I don't know if we'll have time for it, but a couple interesting videos. We'll probably at least watch one of them if we can, because it it shed some pretty good light on the film. But this was the response, apparently. The Department of Justice quietly removed significant portions of its page on child sex trafficking, including information on international sex trafficking of minors, domestic sex trafficking of minors, and child victims of prostitution. While it's unclear what prompted the revisions, I would say, from the film, conservatives pointed to the changes as a sign the Biden administration is not taking crimes surrounding child exploitation seriously. So yeah, this is on Washington Examiner. That's where this is. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and watch one of these videos while I've got the subject matter pulled up. This is one of Greg Reese's reports. He's done two here recently on the film that just came out, Sound of Freedom. But and you may have already seen these videos, but I think this particular one is probably the one that we should really pay attention to, just because I think it sort of reveals some of the connections, some of the dark connections that are actually part of this film. So we just need to be aware of them so that we know what to watch for. So this is called Angel Studios Directing People to Clinton Podesta NGOs. Pretty interesting. Here it is. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I know you guys, I was just looking at the chat and saw that several people have seen that film and really loved it as far as Sound of Freedom, and I don't disagree. I just think that there are also some, I'm not seeing the film, but I do think that there are some connections there that are a little shady. Carlos Slim is the former, I think he's still a current shareholder in the New York Times, like I think the largest shareholder in the New York Times. So that means he's not exactly on our side, you know what I mean? So yeah, if there's connections there, it's very possible, like Greg said that Angel Studios may not know this, although you would think that they would. I mean, how hard is it to really figure that stuff out? So pretty wild, but the that doesn't really take away from the impact the film has. You know what I mean? Like, the film is reaching people, and I think that's a good thing. But there's some definitely shady connections there to look at, and I thought the Greg Reese report there helped define what some of those things are. So it's just something to keep in mind as you recommend that film to other people. So, but it does need to be seen. I mean, people need to know what's going on with the child trafficking. And then this is further information here. California Democrats block bill to lock up repeat child sex traffickers. Prison is not the answer, they say. Well, I think it would be a pretty good answer for many of them. If you lock them up, there's a really good chance they won't be able to do it again, right? Isn't that how that works? California Democrats on Tuesday killed a bipartisan bill to strengthen punishment for repeat traffickers of minors, continuing a years-long push to empty prisons. Yeah, they want to put us in the prisons and let out all of the criminals. The legislation, Senate Bill 14, would classify trafficking of children and teenagers younger than 18 as a serious felony or on par with murder, arson, and rape, which would bring longer prison terms and potential life sentences without a chance for a plea bargain. The 6 Democrats on the Assembly Public Safety Committee abstained from voting on the bill, preventing its advance toward a vote by the full chamber, and both Republicans voted yes. So they are giving it the downvote, basically. Says the Democrats' downvote came even as local leaders and anti-trafficking activists across California have warned that sex trafficking is surging since the state in January decriminalized loitering with the intent to commit prostitution in the name of transgender rights. The Public Safety Committee has killed a number of proposals this session meant to address rising crime, including a previous bill to sharpen penalties for sex trafficking. Progressive members of the panel have for years worked to ease punishments for criminals and reduce prison populations. So there you have it. Democrats don't want sex traffickers to be imprisoned or to be punished. They want them to have free reign, just like, it's kind of connected to the whole trans agenda as well. They say they want the kids. I believe them. All right. This one is another article I found. I think this was linked to from Daily Crow. German Minister of Agriculture, each person can only eat 10 grams of meat per day, which is still mandatory, Recently, German Minister of Agriculture made another shocking statement. He plans to reduce the amount of meat eaten by all residents in Germany, aiming to change the diet structure by changing the habit of eating meat so as to be environmentally friendly. He advocated taking nutrition from green plants and called for a maximum daily intake of 10 grams of meat per capita. What is the concept of 10 grams of meat? The picture below shows a 100-gram sausage slice, which contains 6 slices. 10 grams of meat is not as much as this slice. The German media themselves ridiculed that 10 grams of meat per person per day is equivalent to only 1 curry sausage per person a month. Wow. The plan has been put on the agenda, and the federal government has also accepted the proposal. It will vote on the plan in June. So let's see when this was dated. Must be next June, because this is dated today. Federal government has also accepted the proposal. According to the proposal of the Minister of Agriculture, the plan will be launched at the end of this year, at the earliest. Nursery schools and student groups will be the first to bear the brunt. Some German university canteens have begun to transform their dietary structure a long time ago. For example, from 2021, 4 well-known universities in Berlin will reduce the supply of meat by nearly 90%. The Technical University of Berlin even opened Germany's first full vegetarian student canteen using soy protein instead of meat protein. So, anyway, that's what they're doing in Germany, and you can bet they want to bring that here, too, as fast as possible. All right. Well, let's see here. Let's see what else we've got. Okay, going back to what I mentioned earlier about the archaeologist when I was talking about the Sodom and Gomorrah connections here. Archaeologist uses clues from the Bible to discover famous city destroyed by fire from heaven. Famed archaeologist believes he's found the biblical city of Sodom in modern-day Jordan and says there's evidence that proves it was wiped out by fire. Stephen Collins is who they're talking about. Talking about the biblical cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. He says that he used scriptures to find the location. Well, guess what? Ron Wyatt already did all the work. So why this guy is not just looking at ronwyatt.com, I don't know. But Ron Wyatt found Sodom and Gomorrah years ago. So here's the website, ronwyatt.com. He's the original Indiana Jones, if you ask me. But he has discovered, now Ron is no longer with us, he passed away in 1999, but he discovered not only Sodom and Gomorrah, but Mount Sinai, the actual location where God gave Moses the 10 Commandments. Noah's Ark, he found the actual real Noah's Ark, what's left of it, and the Exodus and Red Sea crossing, and most importantly, the Ark of the Covenant. So Ron is a guy that I've talked about many, many times and made videos on his work. Also, I'm on Hugo Talks' email list, and I noticed that he also put out a video mentioning Indiana Jones and the Ron Wyatt connection. So this video is too long to watch tonight, but you guys can pull this up and check it out if you want, hugotalks.com, or I will link to this video and article in my Substack post tomorrow. But it is really interesting. This is ronwyatt.com talking about Sodom and Gomorrah, the location of it. Ron Wyatt found it back in the 90s, I believe. And it's all real, it's all true, and it's all documented on the website here and in multiple videos. You can see there's a lot here. Multiple videos on available on DVD, and then of course now on YouTube and in other places. So Sodom and Gomorrah was found. It was already found. So this guy who is saying that he found it should have just visited ronwyatt.com first. I could have told you where it was. Of course, he didn't ask me. Anyway, pretty interesting. This one, I haven't really followed who Andrew Tate is per se, other than I knew he was being railroaded. And he did a really good interview. It's kind of a long interview with Tucker Carlson. It's available on Twitter, on Tucker's new show on Twitter. They put up the full interview. It's like 2.5 hours long. I watched it, actually, because I was interested to see what was going on with Andrew Tate. And they definitely just built a case around it to throw him in pokey. And he's under house arrest. He was in prison, or in jail, for some time. So the story's pretty interesting. Episode 9 of Tucker on Twitter. Lengthy, complete interview with Andrew Tate, former kickboxer turned influencer who is currently being held on human trafficking, rape, and criminal gang charges, which, of course, he explains all that in the interview, and it's a joke. I mean, they have really, literally nothing to stand on and no evidence. And they're saying that he's trying to make money off of girls on TikTok, and as far as I know, that stuff's not even monetized on TikTok, and he didn't know anything about it either. So it's a joke. But the one thing I did find interesting, which I'd heard before, was that he has converted to Islam, and I think that given the fact that he's in, Romania, that's not really a very good connection. Yeah, he's in Romania at the moment, which he said he loves living in Romania, but there was a little thing called the Crusades he should look into, and just the fact that he is now a Muslim, I think that's probably got a lot to do with the fact that he's being basically imprisoned at this point. They're going to throw away the key if they decide to find him guilty in the Romanian courts. But I think he's got himself caught up in this thing primarily because of his new conversion. I don't think he's been a Muslim all that long. But it is interesting. It's a good article, and I think he has a lot of really good, positive things to say. And I would actually highly recommend listening to the interview. And if you have never heard him talk before and have believed what people have said about him, I would just ask that you reconsider it, because I watched it and thought that it was really good, and I do think he is an honest guy who's being railroaded here. And again, I think it has to do with his recent conversion to Islam more than anything. But he doesn't even bring that up. But, if you look at Romania and what happened, how they've been essentially battling the religion of Islam for many hundreds of years, it's not too hard to see how they might very well put pressure on somebody that has the amount of influence that this guy has. And he can reach millions and millions of people. So pretty interesting. It was a good interview, I thought. Highly recommended. News Wars are Wi-Fi appliances prepping the public for carbon tracking and social credit scores. Well, what do you think? Citizens suspicious of barbecue grills that connect to the internet. You think you should be? Video going viral online shows barbecue grills with Wi-Fi built into them, which many people online are saying will lead to carbon tracking and a social credit score system. Of course, that's the entire reason they're doing them. So yeah, if your barbecue grill has a Wi-Fi connection, it's going to be telling on you. It's going to be tattling on you eventually, or at least trying to. So yeah. Now, this one I posted on my Facebook page. Toronto Zoo asked visitors to stop showing the gorillas videos on their phones because the apes are getting addicted to them. Pretty funny. So there's a video here if you guys want to watch it. You may have already. This little girl showing, I guess, probably video of this particular gorilla or of other gorillas. I'm not really sure what she's showing him, but they're apparently banning people showing videos to the gorillas because the gorillas are getting addicted to the videos on the phone. So what's that tell you about you guys and your addiction to videos, watching them on your phone? I'm just joking. Everyone I know is addicted to cell phones. Everyone. I mean, they sit down and they can't put the cell phone down for any stretch of time, hardly even to eat a meal. And I'm not talking about necessarily people in my family. There's some that way as well. But I mean, it seems like everybody I run into are completely addicted to these things, and now apparently gorillas aren't even safe from the cell phone addictions. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny. Cowboy State Daily, I found this article and thought it was kind of interesting given the scenery here. I think one of my friends in Wyoming may be listening, so this is for you. Discussing her recent ascent of Wyoming's famed Devil's Tower, Alice Gailey 6 was matter of fact. So what did she do? She was the youngest girl to climb Devil's Tower in Wyoming. She's 6. Wow, that's pretty amazing. And what have you guys done today? I say that pointing a finger at myself as well. So she says, it wasn't scary for me. On July 8th, Alice and her brother Tristan, 9, climbed Devil's Tower with their parents. That made Alice the youngest female on record to scale the 867-foot tower, according to the National Park Service. Again, responding matter-of-factly, Alice said the accomplishment made her feel good, but not that proud. I thought that was pretty funny. House passes $886 billion National Defense Authorization Act. House on Friday passed its version 2024 National Defense Authorization, a vote of 219 to 210, which largely fell along partisan lines. Imagine that. Due to amendments added by Republicans relating to social policies in the military. The Republican amendments covered abortion, transgender surgery, and diversity initiatives. Only 4 Democrats voted in favor of the bill, and 4 Republicans voted against it. The 4 Republicans who opposed the NDAA are Massey, Crane, Biggs, and Buck. The Senate still needs to pass this version of the NDAA, and the 2 chambers will negotiate the final version that will go to the president's desk. And my guess is he can barely even sign his name at this point. The Republican amendments packed into the House version will set up a fight between the 2 chambers, as Senate Majority Leader Chucky Schumer, and other Democrats will reject them. So, yeah, that's where it's headed. So they've passed it in the House. So, yep, more fun for all of us. Canadian smoke returns to northern plains and upper Midwest as National Weather Service issues air quality alerts. This is dated earlier today. Well, actually, this evening. National Weather Service has issued air quality alerts from northern plains into the upper Midwest as smoke from Canadian wildfires once again drift into the U.S. Yep, there we have it. And there's the fires. So, fire.airnow.gov is the website with this map on it. And, this is something that Mr. Dane Wigington, talks about quite a bit as far as using wildfires for geoengineering. I think that's what's going on at this point. If you guys follow, I mentioned Dutch Sense earlier, if you follow his work at all, I think he's gotten some pretty good evidence at this point that, it's possible the fires were set intentionally, but it's also possible that it could be lighting up from earthquakes that then cause fires in that same area from methane being released. So, I don't know. Or maybe a combination of both. Maybe it's a little of both. Don't know. But we have all these wildfires in Canada and not that many in the U.S. And a lot of them are almost like stopping at the U.S. border. So, what's that tell you? So anyway, yeah, watch out if you're in the air quality alert zones. Young men in Ukraine hide in fear of being sent to die. My friends were trained for 5 days and sent to Donetsk. Gateway Pundit reported that Russia claims Ukraine has suffered 26,000 casualties in 1 month of its failed counteroffensive. Now, even Warhawk Foreign Policy magazine concedes that young men in Ukraine are being pressed into military service with no training and sent into the meat grinder in Donetsk. So, yeah, which, this is not good. Not good, but that's what they're doing because they're, most of their main soldiers have been killed by the Russians at this point because they're getting run over. They're getting destroyed by Russia. So yeah, they're was it like 16-year-olds and then older guys as well. They're drafting everybody who can walk and probably not even people that can walk at this point. So this is a little bit deeper article and including some video on this. If you're so inclined, you can check that out. Gateway Pundit. LOL. MSNBC host claims his audience doesn't have conspiracy theorists. Well, that's a good one. Al Velshi, who once stood in front of fires at BLM and Antifa riots in Minneapolis, recently claimed on his show that his audience doesn't have conspiracy theorists. This is the same network that pushed the Russia collusion hoax for 4 solid years. It's one of the main reasons that their viewers tuned in to watch. What's more, Velshi said this to Nina Jankowicz, who was almost made the head of Disinformation Governance Board at DHS. Yeah. But his audience does not have any conspiracy theorists in it. If you believe that one, I don't know what to tell you. Police helped elderly pastor. I didn't know about this. Maybe you guys do, but I had not heard this particular story with J6. Police helped elderly pastor and his son find the bathroom. Remember, police helped them find the bathroom in the Capitol building on January 6th. Now they're facing 3 years in prison. This is outright intimidation tactics. You have no rights. J6 defendants Casey Cusick, his elderly father James Cusick, and David Lesperance, a family friend who is also elderly, are facing up to 3 years in prison for walking into the Capitol building on J6 for 9 minutes to use the bathroom. That's why they're being held. Wow. I didn't know about that one. I mean, I've heard a lot of the horror stories and some of the other people that have been held for really just as dumb of reasons. But I didn't know about this particular one. I don't know if you guys did. Man. So more info on Gateway Pundit on that. I thought this one was pretty funny. See what you guys think. CNBC host to Buttigieg, quote, "You've told me in the past we are going to control the weather. And now you say you can't control it," end quote. That's on video. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, I guess that's how you say it. I don't know how you say his name. Not that it matters. Recently admitted he can't control the weather after thousands of flights were delayed and canceled due to severe weather in the Northeast. Earlier this month, Pete accidentally admitted that what we already know to be true, no one can control the weather. Oh, really? Have you seen geoengineeringwatch.org? United canceled more than 1,000 flights first weekend of July, or 20% of its schedule, due to severe thunderstorms in the Northeast. Well, I mean, nobody's hitting a button and controlling the weather, I suppose. However, there's an awful lot of science, actual real hard science, to back up the fact that the weather is being controlled, it's being engineered. And for it to come out here on CNBC, I think it's hilarious. You told me in the past we are going to control the weather. Like that's some sort of really great promise that Pete Buttigieg is out there telling people. Pretty funny. Video, idiot eco-terrorist screams in pain as rescue workers try to free his hand after he glued himself to the road. Gosh. Look at the chunk of the road they had to cut out. I mean, I hope he has to pay for it. Thursday, activists used a concrete and epoxy resin mixture to glue their hands to asphalt, disrupting air traffic at 2 airports in Germany. The stunt blocked runways in Dusseldorf and Hamburg, leaving thousands of passengers facing flight delays and cancellations. Yeah, but they feel really good about what they're doing. The use of concrete and epoxy resin does not sound either environmentally friendly or safe. That's a good point. I doubt that it is. One protester in Germany screamed in pain as officials tried to free his glued hand from the pavement. So then they have the translation here, if you want, from German. I don't think we need to hear it, but it is pretty funny, though, actually. I mean, he's the one that did it. Yep. Anyway, not exactly the brain trust here running the show doesn't look like. Man. Leo Hohmann, fighting back against smart cities from San Diego to North Idaho to Wyoming. Residents are getting fed up with the growing surveillance network modeled after that of communist China. It's not about writing tickets, saving lives, or fighting climate change. It's about knowing where every digitally marked human being is at all times. Yep, that's right. The digitization of transportation is kicking into high gear. So this is a guest post by Leo Hohmann, who I've mentioned multiple times here on this broadcast. He's a really good writer. Anyway, there's a lot here if you want to read about the coming smart cities and surveillance network, because he goes into it in great detail there. Netanyahu rushed to hospital after losing consciousness. I didn't realize he actually passed out. Was rushed to the hospital on Saturday after he lost consciousness. 73, reportedly complaining about chest pain before he was taken to a hospital. He lost consciousness. He fell down and hit his head. Interesting. Says that it was not immediately clear who might replace him in the event of an emergency secession. But I saw somewhere, I guess it was on a different article, saying that he was at home and doing fine now, which that's what they always say. Even, no matter how bad it really is. He's like, on death's door, and people are, I don't know that he is, but I'm just saying, it gets that bad sometimes. People are on death's door, and then it's like the next report you hear that they're just at home doing fine. They're kicked back watching Netflix. Illinois town first in Midwest to ban gas in new buildings. Oak Park, Illinois, suburb of Chicago, has become the first Midwestern town to ban fossil fuels like natural gas in new homes and commercial buildings. Well, California's been talking about wanting to do this for a long time, so I'm not surprised somebody's actually gone and done it. It's what this town in Illinois has already done. So get ready. They are bringing it to a city near you. Is Biden preparing to take the U.S. to war against Russia? Well, I think so. This is disturbing and alarming. Biden issued an order activating up 3,000 ready reserve and select reserve military personnel and sending them to Europe for potential combat with Russia. This is not a hoax. It's on the White House website. Yeah, and these numbers are, I think, changing all the time, and I think it's far larger than what they're actually saying here. But, yeah, so this is more of the same, taking us to war. When all else fails, they take you to war, just like the old saying goes. That's what's going on. Actors join writers on strike, effectively shutting down Hollywood. Will anyone notice? Will you notice? I don't think I would notice. I don't watch much Hollywood, much of anything anymore. Hollywood writers have been on strike for 3 months. I have no idea. And have now been joined by the SAG, Screen Actors Guild. This means that everything in Hollywood has come to a screeching halt. Other than people who work in the industry, will anyone really notice? Are there any shows on TV that are so good that people will miss them over the coming weeks and possibly months? As far as movies go, what are people going to miss? Yet another dumb superhero movie? Another woke lecture on why men are evil? Well, that is a good point. Says if Hollywood still had any goodwill left with the public, people might care. But in recent years, much of America has turned on the entertainment business. It's more woke than higher education is. Yep. I agree. I don't watch really anything much of what comes out of the Hollyweird community anymore. Used to, but don't anymore. For quite a few years at this point. Ultra-right beer slams woke companies in hilarious parody ad. So, says Bud Light's decision to go woke has created a whole new industry for creative people. And this is a Smokey and the Bandit parody. A relatively new beer brand called Ultra-Right Beer has put out a new ad that's actually kind of funny. In addition to slamming woke companies, the ad is a parody of the classic comedy movie Smokey and the Bandit. So, but what I wanted to play instead of Smokey and the Bandit was, we've got quite a few people here, so I wanted to play this again because most of you probably did not see this little gem that I found earlier today. I'm going to enlighten you once again in these next few seconds. Here it is.
All right, everyone. So it's Friday night. I'm getting ready to go out. This is the look. I'm feeling kind. But before I go out, I've got a pregame. And the only way I pregame is with an ice cold Bud Light. So good.
And you're welcome. You're welcome. I thought that was unbelievable. The deep fake there was incredibly good work. And I just saw that, and I knew I had to share it with you guys. Thought you would appreciate it. I thought it was funny. Good stuff. Chicago Cubs is going crazy here. Yeah, I know. It was hilarious. I played it at the beginning of the show, but not too many people were here yet. So, but we'll mark that one up as a solid gold for sure. InformationLiberation.com. On this site, I usually just pretty much go through a few of the headlines. There's a bunch of really good ones on this site. Ecstasy should be used to cure people of their hateful and anti-Semitic beliefs. Jewish Daily Forward. So they're calling for ecstasy. I don't think that's a good plan. Biden orders 3,000 reservists to be ready for deployment in Europe for Russia deterrence. So we just mentioned that a little bit ago. Ray Epps sues Fox for defamation, citing Tucker Carlson label him a Fed, which he wasn't the only one. There were people on video that were calling him Fed. They were chanting Fed, Fed, Fed anytime Epps was talking. And even if he wasn't a Fed, he was basically working in that line of, in that sort of capacity. So, whether he was a Fed or not doesn't really matter. He still had that particular type of job. Watch Kamala Harris explains artificial intelligence. So that would be a good comedy relief piece. It says, prepare to be dazzled. I'm sure. Mayor Sadiq Khan, we can't arrest our way out of London's crime problem. So they have to just let all of the criminals just do whatever they want because they can't arrest their way out of the crime problem in London. Oh, man. Anyways, so there's more here on informationliberation.com. And let's see here. I thought I'd just go through a few of the headlines on summit.news. There's some good ones here if you guys want to pull it up. Creepy, Biden is finished. I don't know about that. I'm not sure, but I hope so. That's a video. A lot of these are going to be videos, but some of them are full articles. Watch, Mike Pence squirms as Carlson dismantles neocon talking points on Ukraine. That's the one earlier where Pence basically just says he's not concerned. Pretty funny. Loophole, Biden administration forgives $39 billion in student debt for over 800,000 borrowers, but of course they can't do that. And the Supreme Court has already said they can't do that, but they're still trying it anyway. They just ignore what they don't like. Why even bother? Politically correct purity filter strikes again. So this is Snow Brown and the 7 Woke Dwarves, or whatever it's called. It looks pretty funny. But this is a video if you want to watch it. Elon does it again. Usual suspects are big mad. Videos, climate czar John Kerry exposed as bald-faced liar over use of private jet, claims he doesn't fly in a private jet, then admits he did while acting as State Department climate czar. So, which is it there, John? Report top Democrats know Biden is not running for second term. So that's interesting. Multiple big donors aren't locking in. Wonder why. Tucker Carlson creating new media company looking to raise hundreds of millions of dollars to fund the venture. I would imagine he'll probably get it. In-game, U.S. federal debt interest payments about to hit $1 trillion. There's quite a bit here on summit.news. If you guys want to check that site out, it's a good one. Paul Joseph Watson. I saw this pretty funny, the woke hole instead of the black hole. Everything's getting sucked down into it. Common sense, humor, freedom of speech, Hollywood, U.S. economy, women's sports, religious freedom, the U.S. military, and the U.S. legal system, all getting sucked down the woke hole. I think you can probably come up with even more than one joke on that one. VaccineImpact.com. Bible teaches believers to manage their own business and to not be slaves to the system. Just the opposite of Christian teaching. Talking about Christian teaching from the standpoint of people who are pretending to be Christians, but the Bible is teaching otherwise. Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, to attend to your own business, and to work with your hands, just as we told you, so that your daily life may win the respect of outsiders, and so that you will not be dependent on anybody. 1 Thessalonians 4:11-12. Thought that was pretty good. Car manufacturers to require face recognition to drive their vehicles in the near future. This is actually something I've been wondering about when this was going to happen. Because I've noticed, you can still, at this point, you can still get in a car, even if whether you're the driver or a passenger, you can still get in a car and not put your seatbelt on, and yes, it will ding at you, but the car will still go forward. I predict very soon there will be a time when the cars, it may already exist, I don't know, you get in and it starts dinging at you, if you don't put your seatbelt on, the car won't move forward, it'll just stay. It'll just stay in park. That's my guess. But this is kind of a similar thing. This is talking about facial recognition. The automotive industry is moving quickly now to take away one of the last freedoms most Americans still have, the ability to get in one's own vehicle and drive anywhere one wants, whenever they want to. In an announcement this week, Biometric Update reported that almost all of the major automakers, that's a lot of them, have either recently announced or have already patented facial recognition technologies that will require drivers to supply a scanned image of their faces in order to use their autos in the near future. Of course, that'll be tied to the Mark of the Beast system, and you won't even be able to drive a car anyway if you don't have enough credits in your social credit account or whatever they call it. JP Morgan Chase files a notice of appeal in Jeffrey Epstein case to prevent all future lawsuits against the child sex trafficker. So that's interesting. New Mexico foster parent confesses guilt of sexually abusing children for years but does no jail time. Wow. That's amazing. Sound of Freedom movie allegedly funded by a billionaire philanthropist with ties to human trafficking, which is what we covered earlier in the Greg Reese video. Pretty interesting. Does, in my opinion, does taint it a little bit, but the film is still important to get the word out on what's going on with the sex trafficking of minors. 57 banks and financial institutions certified for FedNow instant payments. Fed president admits withdrawals can be limited. Of course they can. Study debunks the theory that depression is caused by a chemical imbalance in the brain. America's problem with criminal drug dealers. Yeah, they're the ones that deal directly with the doctors. That's the criminal drug dealers, if you ask me. Sound of Freedom film falls short of revealing who are the ones trafficking children and how to stop it. So, another slightly anti, I guess, article there. One of the most of the world opposes the U.S. in decision to send to Ukraine cluster bombs that were banned by Bush but reinstated by Trump. BRICS and Davos, the race to a new world currency. Yes, they are trying to get there as fast as they possibly can. They kind of need an antichrist on the scene, though, which, by the way, they might have before too long. So vaccineimpact.com is where that was, and geoengineeringwatch.org. Two things to show you on this site, if you didn't already see it. And if you're not on the newsletter list here, you should sign up. It's free. Just go to geoengineeringwatch.org. Click on this right here where it says email list sign up on that icon, the little graphic, and you can drop your email address in there, and you will get these newsletters out whenever I send them. And Dane sends them to me, and I send them out. So the list is growing, so thank you guys who are subscribed, and we sent out 2 in the last, 3 days or so. Graphene Rain, scientists sound alarm. Graphene Rain are climate engineering operations, the source. What aren't we being told? A highly credentialed scientist provides extensive analysis. This is a must-watch report, and it's not all that long either. I think it's maybe 30 minutes or so. It's all audio, talking about Graphene Rain. So yeah, good interview there, and it's with a PhD scientist named Joe, and his identity's been blocked so that no harm comes to him. But it is pretty interesting. It's got some good info there. Global alert news for this week: record deluge, record heat, and record drought catastrophes are causing chaos and devastation. From the U.S. to China, Brazil, Australia, and everywhere in between. We are still officially told that global climate engineering operations are only a dangerous proposal, though those that take the time to look up are finally beginning to ask questions. From farms to fisheries, global food production is plummeting and reserves are running dry. How much longer till store shelves empty out? What happens then? How many actually want to know? So yeah, that's Dane Wigington's latest report. Geoengineering Watch Global Alert News, July 15th, 2023, show 414. So yeah, highly recommended. Feel free to take a look at that if you want. Geoengineeringwatch.org. We did not do a radio show this week on Lost Arts Radio, so I don't have that pulled up. But what we can do is, before we do, let me jump over here to this. I want to show you this before we go too much further. Now, this is the actual Substack page. If you're subscribed, you will recognize it. If you're not subscribed, then you can go to diamondist.substack.com. The address is in the upper right corner-ish area on the screen, diamondist.substack.com. This is what you see. These are the different articles. The main newest one is front and center, which if I refresh, this will actually change now. Because I put out the I was going live thing here. But this is what I want to show you, not so much that. These are the different posts that I do on Substack. And if you click into any of these, like for instance, let's look at last week's show. This is what it looks like. Full uncensored show links. Now this is the show on the other platforms. So after I finish the show, I upload it to my other channels: BitChute, Rumble, Brighteon, back on Facebook, and also on ClickView. So these are the uncensored full show. When you go to this link, if it has the word links in it on my Substack, then you can go watch the full show. And I will post this tomorrow for tonight's show. Does that make sense? So on Monday, I send out the Substack that has all the links. And so that's the links back to my show, the show that we're recording right now. And then here's all the article links. Now this starts with everything that I covered over the course of the show last week, the live show last week. All of these articles, all these links right here are stuff that I talked about. And then getting down here to the bottom are a few other videos and things I embedded that I thought you might be interested in checking out if you want. And that's pretty much it. So that's kind of what it looks like on a given Substack post. So if you're not already signed up, that is kind of what it looks like, just so you know. I say all that to say this. This is why I wanted to show you this. If you scroll down on the home page here on my Substack page, you will see this right here. I just added this yesterday, the Diamond Report links. And this column right here, it's a long column. This has all of my social media channels. And this has my new Twitter that I just set up, a Diamond Report on Twitter, the ongoing Facebook page that I've had for forever, and my Facebook profile that I've had for forever as well, and then my YouTube channel, Rumble, BitChute, Brighteon, ClickView, which I mentioned all those already pretty much every week. A link to my DLive, which is a backup live streaming platform I use, my 2 Telegram pages, and these are the other social media platforms I'm on that I really pretty much never mention, but I feel like I should mention them because you guys may be on some of these platforms as well. If you're not, you could be, and they don't censor, which I like. I like all of these for that reason. Minds is one of them. Minds. So if you click this, you'll go to my page on Minds. Gab, which you guys I'm sure know about Gab. Coldcast is another one. I think my friend Susan told me about that. It's a good. I think they're having some financial issues according to what I read, but it's still a good platform. Coldcast is a good one, and then Clout Hub. You guys have probably heard of that. Clout Hub, MeWe, or I don't know if it's Mayway or MeWe. I say MeWe. That's my page on there, and then Brighteon Social and Getter. And so that's all the different places you can find Diamond Report profiles. So all those different places, they're all there on the Substack page. So more and more stuff that I am linking to and connecting to in different ways with this live show ends up on Substack. So just so you guys know, if you're not already signed up, you can sign up for free. Just go to diamonddisc.substack.com. You can click on subscribe button. I'm kind of logged in more or less at this point, not as me, but just in the general way of looking at this page without committing to any sort of payments or anything like that. There's no payment needed. And you get the full amount of information whether you're free or paid. If you want to support what I'm doing, thank you very much. You don't have to, but I certainly appreciate anybody that does. I won't lie to you, because it does cost me time and money to do this show, obviously, every week. So anyway, speaking of which, you can choose to support the show this way if you like. I just added some new products. So we have, I've pretty much only had t-shirts on the store up until today. And today I added some new t-shirts and some hats and some mugs, and at the request of my friend Sam. And also there's a mouse pad, and I may add some other things as well. So you can kind of get an idea of what they look like, and you can click on any of these things, and it will show you by paging through here. You guys know how it works. What it looks like. So there's a Diamond Report mug, Diamond Report Live. So there's an example. I also did end times dates. So there's the end times dates. It does not come with any cookies or spoons or beautiful girls, but you do get the lovely cup for just $15. So anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know about that. There's also a new one here, an enamel mug, which I think 12 ounce is what that holds, and then the mugs are 15 ounce or 11 ounce, and then there's this funky little mouse pad. It says it's 18 by 16 inch. So that's actually pretty big. It's got both logos on it, so that's what that looks like. And the different T-shirts, I did do a End Times Dates T-shirt. This is really the same design as the Diamond Report T-shirts. It's just got the End Times Date logo here, including the Diamond Report logo on the sleeve. If I can find one right here. Diamond Report logo on the sleeve, and the End Times Dates logo on diamonddisc.substack.com, and the website address on the back and on the front. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that. It's all brand new. I tried to come up with an interesting hat. Now, the logo on this particular, these are print-on-demand products. So these aren't just like printed up and then shipped to me. These don't exist until you order something. So what I was trying to do is come up with a hat that was an interesting design. And what I did was I didn't really like the way the logos, the Diamond Report logo, looked on the hats. So I just came up with an interesting saying. So let me know if you guys don't like this, but I thought it was kind of cool. It just says conspiracy analyst instead of conspiracy theorist. Conspiracy analyst and then a period. And then it's got the Diamond Report website, which is actually just, if you type that in and go to it, that's my Rumble channel technically. But yeah, it just says conspiracy analyst instead of conspiracy theorist. And you can see kind of what it looks like in some of these different colors. And you can get it in white print or black print. Here's the black print version. Conspiracy analyst. Because I do tell people that when they say, you're just a conspiracy theorist. I say, no, I am a conspiracy analyst. So that's what that's about. And then here is a corduroy cap as well, which you can't really see quite as well in this picture. Let me see. Yeah, you can see the inside of it, and you can see her wearing some of the different colors and stuff. So anyway, that's kind of what they look like. That's the new products I've added. I may still continue to add a few more things, but I think we're kind of getting there. So in the meantime, feel free to take a look at that if you guys want to. Let's take a look at the comments. You guys are chatting away over here, so let me see what you guys are saying, see if there's anything I missed or important questions here. Let's see. Yeah, lots of people saying hello. Oh, yeah. YouTube. People are asking me about YouTube. Why are you even worried about YouTube? And I kind of addressed that earlier, I guess. But I want to try and keep a presence on YouTube as long as possible. So if you guys are not subbed, please do that. And I certainly appreciate it. Yeah. Betty says she just made it before I started. So that's good. Several people here saying they're still subbed. That's good. Thank you for checking. And Verb Homefront says they saw Sound of Freedom. Loved it. Okay, good. Obama does look more feminine than Michelle, actually. I think so, too. It's pretty funny. Russ is here. Hey, Russ. Glad you made it. Good to see you. Thanks for all your work. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for all your work, sir. Saw the movie. Amazing. Was weepy through most of it, but the ending made me lose it. Citing USA as the biggest trafficker breaks my heart, Kathy says. Yep. I haven't seen the movie, but I can imagine that's probably that makes a lot of sense. That's probably 100% true. The goal is to divide and conquer. If they disseminate YouTube viewers and people scatter to different platforms, we lose some of the unity of like minds. Yeah, Susan, I agree. Yep. Thank you for your diligent efforts, William says. You're welcome. John Kerry equals skull and bones, Russ says. Yes, he absolutely is. Yep. And multi-warhead technology give to China by Clinton during his presidency. He gave the tech to China for free, no strings. I know. I think in exchange for campaign contributions, right, Russ? Seems like. Doug, question. Do you follow Israeli News Live, Stephen Ben-Nun? I believe he's ex-CIA. Has great intel, just lately. Just crazy stuff, but I trust his contacts, Kathy's saying. Yes, Steve Ben-Nun, I do know who you mean, and I've been a Patreon supporter of his for a long time in just a small amount, but I do respect his information, and I do listen to what he has to say. He does admit to being ex-CIA, you're right. And he does have an interesting perspective. I do think he is a Bible believer, and I don't really question any of that. I don't really honestly watch too many of his videos, really for no other reason other than mostly a lack of time. I won't say they're not interesting. He does have some really, I guess you could say shocking type of video titles and things like that sometimes, and sometimes you can't help but watch those. But I really don't really, I don't really see too many of his videos because of lack of time. I am on a couple of his email lists, so I do get them. So yeah, I don't think he is, like controlled opposition or anything like that. I do think he's putting out good information, and I would certainly support him. And I don't know, I think his wife was helping him at one point. I think she's had some health issues or something, so I'm not sure if she's involved now or not, or if it's mostly just him. But I do think that they put out some pretty unique information for sure. Yeah, Israeli News Live has been reporting on subs on the East Coast. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, and I do think that is that's good, and there's not really that many people who are going to have access to that type of information. So it's good that he's talking about it. I have not heard any reports on that from him. So yeah. They did make it rain at Woodstock, William says. Yeah, that's right. They did. That's right. Yep. The powers that be want to discourage concerts. Live music raises your positive vibes. Yeah, it does. Not to sound like New Age ideology there. I'm a firm follower of Jesus. Yeah, and it's funny. Anytime any Christian that I know that mentions the word frequency or vibration or whatever, they always have to come out. The next thing out of their mouth is, but I'm not New Age. And I know people that are broadcasters that do the exact same thing. And I get it. I mean, yeah, I totally understand that. But, and nobody wants to be called New Age. Not even the people who are New Age want to be called New Age. And I know some of them. I know some of my good friends are New Age, and they have no idea that they are. So, but that doesn't mean they're evil. That just means that that they don't put Jesus front and center in their life, like we're supposed to, like I do, like I try to. And that's not always easy, is it? Yes, it is time to praise Jesus. Concerts are draining the vibration of truth and love. I think all of this lab-created food they want us to eat is designed to kill people over the next 10 years, 20 years. Remember, they only want 500 million slaves left on the planet. Yep, that's right. Yep, according to the Guidestones, yep. But we don't know the actual numbers. Maybe far less than that. Appliance manufacturers have Sunday law programming built into these gadgets. Really? Okay, I didn't know that. Interesting. Charles governs 40% of the world, I believe. I believe the Bible mentions that for the AC, Kathy says. It's funny. The whole Charles thing is really, for a lot of us, people who really weren't necessarily looking at Charles to be the Antichrist, which he's not yet, technically. He's King Charles at the moment. He won't be the Antichrist until such time as he is indwelled with the spirit of Satan. Which, could come at some point, probably when an attempt is made on his life. So we'll see if he is dramatically changed if and when that happens. If that never happens, then maybe it's the wrong guy. But it's pretty interesting to see how many of the boxes you can check next to Charles' name when you realize how much, how in charge of a lot of these things he's been all this time. As far as heading up, basically being over the World Economic Forum, and look at all the stuff they're trying to do. So, I mean, he is really above that. So, yeah. Funny name for a guy riding the fence, Judge. Yeah. Yep. Mike Judge, yep. Do you have an ETA for the mugs? Yeah, I already showed you that. So thank you, Sam, for the mugs. That was your idea. So I credit you with that one. Hopefully they turned out okay. If you want them to look different than they do, let me know. But yeah, I have a few options on what I can change, but hopefully they will suffice. And thank you guys in advance. Let's see. Yes, the mugs are in the store, and trying to see if there's anything else. Susan says, wow, Doug, can you put a link for the last video on Facebook? The last video. I'm not sure which video you mean, but I put all of the my videos back on Facebook. So hopefully you're seeing those. The last video, I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Maybe one of the ones I referred to. If you're talking about the Grey Grease video, that's you can find that at band.video, if it was that one. Not sure. Let me know. I think that's about the end of the comments here. Yeah, next the Gorillas will be playing Candy Crush, Verba Homefront says. Yep, they might be. The apes have more subscribers than I do, William says. That's funny. Second runner-up of the Miss Universe was an actual really beautiful woman. Oh, really? Okay. I didn't know that. I'm sort of surprised, though. You'd think they would give the top 5 to the top 5 trainees. Can you imagine Percy Sledge singing When a Man Becomes a Woman? Wow. No, I hadn't thought about that one. But yeah, that's probably a good parody song. A lot of people laughing. Oh, that was for the video of Barack Obama a little while ago that I showed. Shouldn't have been Michelle was the trainee. Yeah, I know. I'm confused. That's funny. Well, come on, all of you big, strong men. Uncle Sam needs your help again. He got himself in a terrible jam way down yonder in Vietnam, Chicago Cub says. That's why we buy only used old cars, but have heard that they're already do a car thing in China, and they're putting cameras in cars of people that have the DUI in the probation period. Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. Not to mention, most trucking companies put cameras in the trucks facing the drivers, and the electronic logs are a nightmare. Yeah, I've heard that. I've got a good friend who's a truck driver, and he tells me all about that stuff. Doug, you are a busy, busy man. Yeah, I know. It does seem that way. But I'm not complaining. Susan says, yes, I'm ordering an enamel mug for someone who needs an unbreakable mug. Okay, great. Let me know how it turns out. I haven't, I just put those products together in the shop today, so I literally haven't ordered anything else yet. I'm going to do that, though. Love the conspiracy analyst, Kelly says. Yeah, hopefully the hat will catch on. I like the way it turned out. Great show as usual. Thank you, Doug, Emily says. And watch first hour tomorrow. It was late. Yeah, okay, well, thank you, guys. Awesome. Well, there were a lot of comments there, so my apologies for taking so much time looking at all that, but I want to see what you guys said. So let's see. One other thing I wanted to mention, and let's see what time it is. Oh, wow, we're already 2 hours and 25 minutes in. You guys know who Hope and Tavon are? I think they're doing incredible work. They were on with Maria Z in the last week or so, and man, they are really connecting some dots here. I think they're doing a great job. Technology behind mind control, Internet of Bodies, hacking humans exposed. Do you guys want to watch this? I've got it queued up here, and we can watch just a couple minutes of it, I suppose. And I guess we could just end the show with that because I think they're doing a really good job of, it's a couple, if you guys don't know who they are, it's a couple who live in, I think, Morocco or something. And they're on a few different shows. Primarily, I see them on with Maria Z on her show, Z Media, and she's doing incredible work. So this is something that I feel like they're really doing a good job on. And obviously, I can't play the whole video because it's pretty long. But again, I'll link to this, or you can find it on zmedia.com. You can go there. ZEEE. I think it's 3 E's. zmedia.com. Maria's doing really good work. She's down in Australia, and she's had Dane Wigington on. She's had all kinds of really great guests on. This Hope and Tavon are doing good work. So let's watch just a couple minutes of this, and I guess we could wrap it up at that point. I'll come back and tell you guys last couple things, I suppose, as soon as we're done. So let's watch this just for a few minutes, just so you can kind of get a flavor for what they're talking about. It's really interesting. So here goes. Okay, well, I think you get the idea, and you can see all of the really interesting stuff that they talk about in that interview. So I won't keep you guys all night. I know it's kind of getting late-ish, and again, you can find that link on Z Media's website, ZEEE, 3 E's, or just go to the interviews page on there, or you can wait for the Substack tomorrow. I'll link to it. And you guys can find me on YouTube. I think you know that. You're probably already there, many of you. If you watch this later on, though, you won't be on YouTube, most likely, because I will have to take this down, and I will make a YouTube-friendly version that I can then re-upload back to YouTube. So we'll do that at some point, probably in the next day or so. And then I'm on Rumble and BitChute, and also on Brighteon and on ClickView. Thank you guys. Appreciate all of the support and for hanging out tonight with me. And I know it was kind of a long broadcast. There was a lot to talk about for sure. And there's never a lack of information. So yeah, God bless you guys. We'll plan to do this again 10 o'clock p.m. Central on Sunday night next week. And I hope you guys have a really great week. Anything happens, I will jump back on here and we'll do another broadcast. But otherwise, I'll plan to see you guys next Sunday. And I guess I can close this out here with one more video if you guys want to stick around and watch it. This is an interesting one that I found. You guys mentioned the Sound of Freedom earlier. This is an interesting thing that's happening in some of the movie theaters. There's some people complaining that the movie theaters are being sabotaged when they're trying to show this film. So we've talked a lot about the whole child trafficking thing and this film, so I think this will be a good one to close out tonight with. So let's watch this one, and we'll see you again next week. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.